And now, CCW News presents Holy Crap, This Is Actually Happening. What the News Should Have Been edition, February 6th, 2022. I'm Chuck U. Farley. The big news this week should be that the most transparent administration ever was caught in yet another lie, again at the expense of innocent American civilians. After bowing to the Taliban and supplying them with millions of taxpayer dollars in military weapons and tech, the Brandon regime assured us that, quote, any American who wants to leave has gotten out, end quote. Our American Pravda then reported that fewer than a dozen were trapped. Oops, we're not even allowed to use that word. When in reality, more than 12,000 are still involuntarily located in the Biden-approved terrorist-run country, and, quote, scores of former officials have been executed. For those playing along at home, a score is 8 more than a dozen. More big news ignored this week is the imminent war with Russia, gift-wrapped in a pipeline supplied by the China-installed Biden regime as Putin skips easily into Ukraine. Biden has promised that if Russia does invade, he might just write a sternly worded letter. Also largely ignored is that notorious blackface Justin Trudeau took a page out of former Vice President Biden's playbook and hid in the basement so that he could safely insult his constituents. Calling the United Black, White, Asian, and Indigenous truckers racists and white supremacists, he also noted that they were a fringe minority of only hundreds of millions. Taking advantage of mainstream media's inability to do its single job, a small faction of Antifa showed up in full black bloc and waving a swastika flag to push the "our entire Canadian public is racist" narrative. While real journalists are showing mile after mile of multicultural protesters gathered peacefully, the media is only showing a tight shot of the pathetic band of domestic terrorists counter-protesting with their silly flag. The protests come on the heels of Trudeau's fascist vaccine mandates that have effectively tanked Canada's economy and social structures, all in the fear of a seasonal flu that the vaccines do not stop from spreading anyway. While hiding from his people, Trudeau disproved his own mandates by coming down with his second case of COVID himself, again spreading it to his family, even though all of them had been fully vaccinated and boosted since before their first outbreak. Favorably reported was that ever-expanding, race-baiting Holocaust denier Whoopi Goldberg was suspended from the cackling hen show The View for, well, all of the above. The ironic part is that, because the producers are as anti-Semitic as she is, she only got a 2-week suspension. If she had actually been Jewish, like Roseanne Barr, they would have ended her career. One would think that she would stop using her presumed Jewish stage name at this point and revert to her birth name of Karen Johnson, but that would be too honest for anyone on The View. Or ABC for that matter. Since mainstream news organizations cannot be bothered to report the news, they're busy protecting themselves from the actual news. After assisting and protecting the gropey, murderous liar New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, his little brother Chris was fired from his cushy commentator job for, golly, assisting and protecting his murderous, gropey big brother. Fredo's lawyer then went scorched earth on the lowest-rated fake news organization in existence. Mired in sexual harassment and trafficking scandals, Jeff Zucker, known for being the president of CNN, the child noodling network, resigned this week after he got caught doing to one of his employees what his network does to the rest of the world. Say what you will about Jeffrey Toobin, but at least he's the only staff member who keeps his hands on, to himself. No, folks, none of these stories are in the headlines. Instead, what is being reported as big news is that aging hippie rockers Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young have reunited. Not to make any new music, but to whore themselves out for media attention by embracing the very tyranny their old music once countered. Each member of the band admitted that they hate themselves and each other so much that there will never actually be any more music, but they fully support each other in their own hypocrisy. They, and many other aging socialists, including old Babs Streisand herself, are demanding that Spotify censor Joe Rogan because one of his guests told the truth, and everyone knows that TV Dr. Fauci just can't have that. For CCW News, this has been Holy Crap, This Is Actually Happening. I'm Chuck U. Farley. Good night, and God help us.